V.D. Satheesan did not simply win the numbers game, he changed the political mood within the Congress. While K.C. Venugopal may have appeared stronger on paper, Satheesan built the case on something far more powerful: cadre trust, public acceptability and a relentless opposition image. Over the last 5 years, he transformed himself into the Congress party's most aggressive face against the left government, sharp in debate, intentional in strategy and uncompromising in leadership. As the leader of opposition, Satheesan projected authority, visibility and energy at a time when the Congress was searching for a fighter who could reconnect with the workers on the ground. Most importantly, he refused to back down. Satheesan made it clear he was unwilling to settle for anything less than leadership, than the post of Chief Minister, and that firmness fundamentally altered Congress top command's calculations. In the end, this was not just about MLA arithmetic, it was about someone who looked like a stronger political face for the future. V.D. Satheesan's rise in the Congress has been shaped by sharp policy debates, a strong intellectual image and his early identity as part of the party's Green Brigade generation of MLAs. The Congress High Command or the Congress top leadership ultimately chose stability over factional strength. Rahul Gandhi and the leadership recognized that V.D. Satheesan carried stronger public sentiment, deeper cadre acceptance, especially from the alliance as well, including the IUML. There was also a growing fear that sidelining Satheesan could trigger serious unrest within the party at a crucial moment. A.K. Antony's feedback further reinforced the view that Satheesan had the stronger grassroots connect and the sharper opposition image. At the same time, K.C. Venugopal was persuaded to step aside with the assurance that his role in the national organization remained critical and that bigger responsibilities could await in the future. Over the years, Satheesan evolved from a policy-focused legislator into an assertive and combative political leader, taking on both left government and the rivals within the party with an aggressive political style. Unlike many senior Congress leaders in Kerala, V.D. Satheesan largely stayed away from the party's intense factional battles and was never seen as belonging firmly to either the Umanchandi or the Ramesh Chennithala camps. His elevation as a leader of opposition came as a surprise to many and was seen as a direct push by the Congress top leadership for a generational shift. We're looking at the making of Chief Minister V.D. Satheesan. I'm being joined by M.G. Radhakrishnan, a senior journalist in Kerala, George Kaliyavalil, who's an editor for the National Affairs, Deepika Daily, he should be joining, and as well Nirmal Abraham should be joining us shortly right now. Good evening. Thank you very much, both of you, for joining me. M.G. Radhakrishnan, straight to you first. What's the mood? How is this looking? I think a lot of people in Kerala wanted V.D. Satheesan across party lines. It was not just within the Congress. That seemed to be very clear, the sentiment. Something has worked right within the Congress, and this is very important in the larger national landscape. They seem to have their ear on the ground.
Well, Sneha, it's been a hectic 11-day long waiting. Filled with drama, suspense. It was absolute political thriller for Kerala for the last 11 days. But finally, everything culminated in a fitting climax, as it were, when the High Command, after long days of prevarications, dilly-dallying, procrastinations, and all those unnecessary kind of measures, finally they chose the person who deserved to be chosen.
That's true. M.G. Radhakrishnan, how would you see V.D. Satheesan? He's not what usually has been marked as a Congress leader, a chief minister, as it were. He's somebody who is very, very intentionally stayed away from the strong Congress factional politics that has very well defined the rise of the top-rung leadership in Kerala within the Congress.
Well, he's a completely new face as far as Kerala is concerned, not in terms of generations, but in terms of worldview, in terms of style, in terms of, relationship building, and also, taking firm, clear positions on issues. So this is something which you don't see very commonly in Congress, as you know very well, Sneha. And especially after the exit of the titans of Congress who actually led the Congress for the last 50, 60 years, K. Karunakaran, Uman Chandi, or A.K. Antony, who has almost retired. This is a generational shift in Congress. And this person has been remarkable for, you have already mentioned, you have already summed up his entire profile. And he was not attached to any particular group, at least for the last few years, especially after 2021. He was originally linked to Karunakaran camp, but later on, in 2021, the enormous responsibility that was bestowed upon him by the High Command was so huge because he had to bring up a party which was in complete tatters. And 2021 means, 2016 it lost, 2021 it lost for the second time in a row, for the first time in history, and Congress was completely dead. It was at that particular point of time that a person who has never held any position beyond being a legislator was entrusted with the responsibility to bring back the Congress from the ashes. And the last 5 years, we saw him leading from the front and, with aggression, clarity, decisiveness, and determination. And so I think that everything paid off in the last election. Bringing Congress back to power with a huge mandate, 105, which surpassed even the most optimistic expectations of even the UDF leaders. Only this man, this Satheesan, the 62-year-old man, the former advocate from Kochi, was the person, he was the only guy who said, 100 and more than 100 seats, or I will take to sannyas. So this this proved to be prophetic afterwards, but initially it was seen as a kind of sort of overreach. But all these things paid off. Finally, even though it took about 11 days of serious, agonizing delay, which exposed the indecisiveness of the high command and the complete hollowness of this leadership. Finally, I think everything paid off as it should be.
Right. George Kalyavalil, you for sure were surprised with this. This is not what you were hedging your bets on, but, moving to what really makes V.D. Satheesan what he is. It's not just about the fact that he has trumped veterans within the Congress. It's also about the man who created conversations in public space, in politics, which were very nuanced. When he brought in the Green Warrior turf at a time when, you did not have many politicians going all their might for environmental issues in Kerala, and he made very nuanced discourses around it. And that was also at a time, if you remember very clearly, many would say he deserved a berth in the Uman Chandi government, but he did not get it. He seemed to have been sidelined at that time as well, but he did not give up. He's moved on and further to now being the chief minister. Quite a marked difference from how this has taken the trajectory in the past for the Congress top leaderships to really take the decision. The man really held on to the public sentiment.
Absolutely, Sneha. I think better late than never. Because at least 2 days till 2 days ago, the decision was clearly in favor of Mr. K.C. Venugopal. But Congress High Command finally understood the mood of Kerala, the mood of the people and mood of the workers. Finally, everybody, though Venugopal was a formidable contender with, majority of the MLAs backing him, and even the party leadership, the KPCC, the DCCs, majority were definitely siding with K.C. Venugopal. Therefore, it was very difficult for the High Command to take somebody else. But the mood or the support, the huge support, and the image as a fighter, as a clean politician, as a person who has got some ideas about bringing Kerala back into its glory, people put him, full faith was put on him. And that was, I think, the feedback by Mr. A.K. Anthony yesterday. That half an hour talk by Rahul Gandhi to A.K. Anthony yesterday over phone from the Kargil's residence, that really changed the mood. They understood the feedback. There was a resentment against K.C. Venugopal, the ordinary workers, Congress workers, and the not ordinary people. They thought that the high command culture of imposing somebody from the Delhi on ignoring Kerala's mood or the party workers' mood. That was the and Anthony, not just Anthony, two other former PCC presidents, especially V.M. Sudhiran and K. Muralidharan. They came to Delhi and they briefed Rahul Gandhi of the consequences if they are going with K.C. Venugopal and the merits of Congress, making use of the support, popular support of V.D. Satheesan for the party. That will benefit the party and the government.
Right.
And Rahul Gandhi, I think, understood. This will help Rahul Gandhi's image also, because finally he has taken a bold decision, because ignoring the majority of MLAs.
I don't know which was the last such strong decision. Actually, if you look at it, possibly the way in which Congress, particularly Rahul, moved in swiftly to back Vijay was possibly the other quick decision that the Congress has taken in the last few days. But this decision in Congress is, I would say, very landmark, not just in Kerala. It kind of reimagines, resurrects how Congress really looks at it organizationally. But M.R. Rajakrishnan, coming back to V.D. Satheesan, the man of the moment at this point, in Kerala, at a time when debates are shrill, rhetoric, as is politics, one can very clearly remember how V.D. Satheesan really garnered headlines when he took on Thomas Isaac on the lottery debate. That's something which all of us will remember. It suddenly catapulted to a public conversation, and I think that was a turning point for V.D. Satheesan as a politician of public nuances among people. I think he's managed to carry that forward, and that's been his strength.
Absolutely, absolutely. That is what makes Satheesan so special. He can take on intellectual issues as well as mass issues with equal elan. And so, as you said, as you recall this Thomas Isaac incident, Thomas Isaac was a highly respected economist and he was finance minister and all. With Satheesan being, compared to him was an ordinary Congress leader. But the way he trounced Isaac in that public debate over lottery many years ago actually made him a superstar, as it were, at that particular point of time. And the other fact that you mentioned about Satheesan, the Green Brigade, when during the cabinet's period, which was notorious for its so many sleazy deals, including so many scams, so many ministers resigned, and so many things. Satheesan had a distinct identity at that particular point of time. He did not hesitate to take on Umman Chandi government. He openly criticized the way Umman Chandi government was going. And also on this environment issue, this was something which no politicians would have even dared to
I don't know of any other chief minister who's had that kind of a background. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very interesting if V.D. Satheesan manages to stand to, walk the talk of what he has as an MLA, as a green warrior, as a chief minister. It's going to be very interesting to see how the centre versus state plays out on several such issues of development where the green conversation and the green concerns are very high. How do you really look at that? Do you think that can happen?
Well, in many ways, he's not the first person. I would actually recall V.S. Achyutanandan as the first chief minister, the politician who actually brought in issues of environment or issues micropolitics, politics, the mainstream of political discourse, which has never been, no political leader even had an inkling of, the issue of micropolitics, which was actually emerging in India. So Achyutanandan, even after he became the chief minister, You know what happened in Munnar, where he
Correct.
went all
Again,
the out against
defined
encroachers.
Achyutanandan's political careers.
Yeah, yeah. In many ways, Sudhiran reminds. I mean, it's not Sudhiran. Satheesan
Satheesan.
reminds of Achyutanandan. Even this particular election of his as a chief minister also is a V.S. Achyutanandan moment. It's an encore of what happened in 2016, 2011, and 2016. 2011, you know how he was denied even a candidature by the party leadership. This was the first instance in history where the people took up,
Absolutely.
I mean, hit the streets and made the party retrace from its position. And that too, iron-fisted party like the Communist Party of India, Marxist. Even the CPIM leader, even after having decided not to field Achyutanandan, the public outcry, amplified by television, of course, and now it is even more so with the emergence of social media. So these are, this is the media age where the, media and the public are, joining hands to make political parties to change its decision fundamentally, radically. So finally the party had to bow to public pressure and field Achyutanandan, and not just field, but he became the chief minister. So this is something in a way similar, many ways similar to what happened in B.S. Achyutanandan's case, and also in certain issues also. Satheesan would be a true successor of a communist leader like V.S. Achyutanandan than to his elders in Congress party. His concern for the environment issues, or even in his firm position on issues of sexual oppressors in the party, and so many other things. He himself called him. I mean, Satheesan himself called himself a left of center politician. He said Pinarayi Vijayan is a right wing politician, while I am the true left wing politician of Kerala. So this is you see a complete reversal of roles in as it were in Kerala. So I think so much hope is riding on Satheesan, but the problem begins right now for him, because he will have a huge sort of battle to carry on within the party, within the alliance, and also against opposition, where the BJP also is slightly inching. Maybe the left is in a sort of coma right now, but that's not the case with BJP. BJP is waiting, and Satheesan's support, the support of Muslim League and Kerala Congress, and all those things are actually, even while it is his strength, it also could make him vulnerable in the social matrix of Kerala.
I'm intrigued that you brought in the V.S. Achyutanandan simile for V.D. Satheesan, because that's also something that I was remembering. I just didn't know how to put it across, and you put it very beautifully, because, very, very different politics at play, but it's just that people pulse and the people connect that really brought it to the fore. But George Kalia, I'm also being joined at this point by Lal Kumar. I'm sorry, I think we've been able to connect too late. I'm just barely left with 5 minutes. Very quickly, let me go to George Kaliavalil. How would you look at this moment for Congress from a national perspective? V.D. Satheesan, many may argue, is a very local player, is a very Kerala player who's become a chief minister. But I think, according to me, my understanding, that's the key which may catapult for Congress in a resurrection. And after the drubbing that it got in 2021, this may be the moment that may spiral Congress nationally as well. V.D. Satheesan may be it's not just the rise of V.D. Satheesan, it's the rise of Congress. How do you look at it?
Sneha, I see it as a game changer. Really, because, Rahul Gandhi and the Congress leadership weighed not only the internal arithmetic among the MLAs, but the long-term political messaging. There is alliance chemistry, there is public sentiment before arriving to a major final decision. That makes the Indian politics, in a different perspective. And I think Congress in Kerala has grown above the group politics. Earlier, Karunakaran, Antony, even Umpanchandi, or even Ramesh Chennathila, they were weighing on the group politics, and they were emerging as a leader, not just as by the public support or the administrative capabilities, but they emerged as chief minister or a top leader because of the group politics.
Right.
That this arithmetic completely changed that scenario, because he's a fighter. He's a, his image is as a newcomer with new ideas. And here this V.D. Satheesan makes Congress, and not just Congress, the entire Kerala state a new image. This will help the politics of India.
Right.
I think, to the positive way.